First of all, quickly download the packages name SQFLITE and path provider. You can download it from anywhere. Actually, I am using the VS Code extension name pubspec assist. You can use that, or you can directly add it from the pub.dev. So after the complete addition of these two packages in your dependency in pubspec.yaml file, here we have the boilerplate code of the default Flutter counter app. I am going to remove this stateful widget my homepage and instead create my own in a different folder. So it is a best practice to make a folder, separate folder for the separate code. In this video we will store the data locally on the phone via SQFLITE packages and the path provider packages. We will be creating a database and a table, and inside the column we will store our information locally on the phone. So I have created the node db helper.dart. This file node db UI consists of the UI part. All the UI part we will write in this file, and for the database management we will create a different file named node db helper.dart, and we will place all the database related code in that file. And here in this file we will write all our database related code, like inserting into the database, deleting, updating, or maybe editing. So we will see later in the video. Quickly import the SQFLITE and path provider and create a class name node db helper. You can give any name you want. For simplicity I am giving this name. So let us quickly define the database name, the table, and all the column names so that we can use it later for future use, and we don't have to write it once again and again. The nodes.db is the db name, the one is the db version, the nodes is the table name, and I'm going to define the three column, one to store ID, another to store the title, and the third to store the description of that title. So for simplicity I am giving the col ID to store the ID, the col title to store title, and the col description to store description. These three are just the three columns in our table, and we can insert as many rows as we want. Let us quickly create an instance of the node db helper so that we can directly call by node db helper instead of creating instance every time we call it. Now we have a method named database in SQFLITE, the capital D, and it allows us to create a database. So you can give any name, and I am giving my own name as a database name. Make sure that it has a null safety, so put a question mark. Now we have created a database from method database which come under the SQFLITE packages, and you can give any name as a database name, as I have given my own. Whenever the application start, there is a chance that there is a database already present if we have created, or if a user have just installed the app, then there is a chance that there is no database. So we are checking that either there is a database or not. So I am simply giving my database name, and if it is null, then it will initialize the database, or it will call the initDB method, and if it finds the database name, then it will simply return that database. Lines of the future code take the database and check whether is found or not. If it is found, then it simply return the database, and if the database don't exist, then it will call the initdb method and it will store the result in the database. Let us quickly define the initdb method, and this is also the async method. Now we will get the document directory. This document directory is method under the path provider package. So it will call an await method, and also there is one error because we haven't imported the path. Now we will call here the get application document directory, something like that. It is also a method under the path provider package. So okay, now we are getting the application document directory inside the document directory, and in string path we will join this document directory with the database name. We are doing all this because we have to create the database inside of this document directory. So in the above future database, if there is no database present, then it will call the initdb method, and in initdb method we are getting the application directory inside the document directory, and we are storing the path in the path variable. Like you can see, we have joined the documentary directory and database name, and we will finally return with the open database method. It is also method under the SQFLITE package, which take three parameter. One is the path where we should create the database, and another is a version, like what version of database should be created, and another method is onCreate, like what should it trigger once the database is formed. So inside the three variable path, database version and onCreate, we have provided a path as a path, and we have provided the database version as db version, and we have provided in the onCreate method onCreate. Now we will create this onCreate method separate. In this onCreate method we are providing the database and the database version as a database db and int version. This is also the async method. Now whenever this onCreate method will be called by providing the database and the version as a parameter, then we are executing the series of the SQL command. This await.db.execute will allow us to write the SQL command inside of it. So on this onCreate method, after it is called, the first thing we will do is we will create a table as it is necessary. So we are writing a SQL command create table and table name. Inside this table we want the three column, one for the ID, another for the title, and another for the description. So we are creating the first column name column ID, and it is of integer primary key, and also it should be able to auto increment. So now the second column name is inside this call title variable, so we are creating the second column by giving its name, and it is of text which should not be null. Now also in the third column, the third column name is the call description, and it is also of the type text and it is not null. Here you can add as many columns as you want. So okay, let me add one more column to store the date and time. I don't know whether I will implement this in the UI or not. I am storing inside the call date variable, and the column name is date. So the column name is inside the call date, and this is of type date time, or Okay, it is of type text and it is not null. Now we have successfully created this onCreate method, which will trigger to create a table, and inside table it will create the 4 column. Now we have to define the separate function for insert, update, view, delete, etc. In a nutshell, we have created a class, and inside it we have defined like the database name, table name, and we have created a database instance, and we have initialized the database. And in this method we have checked whether the database is already present or not. If not, then we will call this initDB method, and inside this initDB method we will get the document directory, the application directory, and it will return the open database method, which will create the database, and after it the table and the 4 column are created. Also in this onCreate method there are 4 SQL commands. So this command will generate like column. As you can see, there is 3 column: ID, main title, and subtitle. So this SQL command will generate the 4 column: ID, title, description, and date. Now here we will create the 4 different functions to insert, delete, update, and view. First of all, let us create the insert method, which will take a map of string and dynamic as a parameter. You can give any name. So for the convention I am using as a row. Now it is a async method inserting in the database. This take the map of string and dynamic as a parameter. So in every custom defined function you have to first of all create the instance of the database. So database db equal to await stand.db. Now you have to return the row. So we are returning await db.insert, and as you can see, this take the 2 values. So one is the table name and another is the value, and the value contain the map. So inside the table name we will pass our table name variable, and in the value we have to pass the map of the string and dynamic, which we have stored in the row. So we will simply return it. Make sure to check the null safety. Now everything is perfect. Also you have to do the same for others. For viewing all the data inside the database, we will create a custom function named queryAll. Now it is of type list of map, which is string and dynamic. It is also the async method. So again, for every custom function we have to create an instance of the database. So create the instance of database by await instant.db. Now it will return query db.query. So we have a method query, like this is the inbuilt method, and inside it we have to give the table name. And again, don't forget to check the null safety. As you can see that there is an error. For updating the database, it will be of the type integer, and it will take the map of string and dynamic as a row, and it will update the specific row by the ID which we have defined above. So it is also async method, and first of all we have to create an instance of the database. and to update we will need a specific ID, like to which row we have to update. So in the int ID, in the ID variable, we will store the specific ID which is inside the row call ID, and we will execute the update command to the specific ID so that the other row remain unaffected and the only row which we are going to update is only affected. Now it will return the db.update, which is also the method, and it take the parameter table name which we have given, it take the row which we have given, and it take the compulsory where argument. So to which row it should update. Now in the where argument we should give the specific ID which is set to update. So I am giving the column ID, and inside the where argument I am simply passing the ID. Make sure to check the null safety. Okay, now it is fine. We have created the method for inserting to database, for querying to database, and for updating the database. Now we have to create the custom function to delete the database. So for deleting database we require an integer, like the integer refer to the ID of the row which should be deleted. So it is of type int, and it also take the parameter ID as an integer. It is a async method, and we have to first of all create the instance of the database, and it will simply return await. We have method called delete, db.delete, which take parameter the table name which we have provided, and as above of the update command, it also take the where parameter, like which specific row should be deleted. So inside the where parameter we will simply provide the same column ID, and inside the where argument we will provide the ID. Now it will delete the specific row from the database and also check the null safety. Now I think we are pretty much done here. Okay, so this is optional. You can create one more method for closing the database, future close. It is also async method. Initialize the database and simply close it. So I don't think I have used it in the UI, but I prefer that you should use it. Now I think we are pretty much done here. So these are the import packages. We have created this instance, we have created database, and it return initdb method. The initdb method return the open database method, and open database method create the table, and also we have created the custom function to insert into the database, and also we have created other method to view, update, and delete. So you can check out this documentation on flutter.dev about the SQFLITE packages, how it works. Now we are pretty much done. Now only thing left is the UI part. Here we will see how we can call those methods to insert into database, view, delete, and update, and all kind of stuff. So I have simply created the function insert database and update database, which take parameter title description, and the second one take the parameter title description, and the delete database take the parameter index. Also I have provided another extra parameter snap. We will talk about it later, because I haven't coded anything inside the function of insert database, update database, and delete database. So in the body you can see I have written the padding, and inside the child there is a future builder, and in the future I have created an instance of the notedb helper dot instance dot query all. So this will return a list of map of string and dynamic. Now in the builder we have stored this async snapshot which will return the list of map of string and dynamic, and we have stored inside the snap. So we are calling the query all function in the future, and the return statement from the query all function is inside the snap as a list of map, string and argument. Now we will simply create a list view builder which return a card, and in the list style we will provide the title, subtitle. In the title we will provide a text which is inside the snap.data at the index. In the title text we need the title which is inside of the node database helper.column title. As same in the subtitle, the text is at snap.data at the index, and we need a description which is inside node database helper.description and node.db helper.column date. This node.db helper is the instance which we have created in the node.db helper.dart, so that we can use it anywhere from our app. Now also we have to give the item count for the listview.builder, which is the snap.data.length. So the length of data that will be returned by the query all function will be in the item count. Now in the UI part we are pretty much done here. Let us add a floating action button, and inside the child we will give a icon of the add, and on pressing we will open a dialog so that we can add the data to the database. Now simply it will return the alert dialog box, and in the title we will provide the add note. In the content we will provide the column which take the children, and we will provide the access size as a minimum. Now this children, we will need a text field to supply the title and the description. Also we will need a to button to insert and to cancel. So inside the action we will create a to button, one name cancel and another name save. So in the onPress property of the cancel button we will simply write navigation.pop, it will do nothing. And for now we are also creating navigation.pop in the save button. But inside the save button we have to insert to the database, so we will call the insert database function, and we will supply the title and description. For storing the title and description, create two variable named title and description. So we are creating the two variable title and description, and in the text field which contain title we will give the unchanged value and store it in the title. Also for the description we will store the unchanged value in the description variable. Okay, now we can call the insert database function by giving the title and description. Inside of this insert database function we have to create the instance by node.dbhelper.instance.insert and supply the call title, call description, column date and call id by giving the title, description and datetime.now.toString, and in the column id we will get it from the snap.data index and node database helper.call id. That is why we need a snap as an parameter in the insert database function. So let me quickly add this snap parameter and also the index parameter. So we have also not given the snap and index parameter in the onPress property. So okay, for now let us leave it, and we have only given the title and description parameter, as I find some difficulty by giving the snap parameter. So for now let it be. Okay, in the save onPress property we are calling the insert database, which pass the title and description parameter. Now it will call the insert database function, and it will simply add the title and description to the database. We are pretty much done here. So actually I have a plan to add a edit button. So now I am copying it over I am copying this show dialog box, and I am pasting it under the onPress property on the list tile. So let me add a show dialog box. Okay, I am getting many errors. Okay, let me recopy the whole code again. I am removing all the content from the onPress property, and I am copying the save button onPress property from the show dialog. Now I will paste it over here. Okay, now it is giving me no error, and in this add note section we will create a edit note. So we should call the update database function, and in the update database function we need a specific index to which we should be update the database. So we are providing the snap and index parameter. In the input decoration we will write what it is in the database. So we are writing snap.data index node database helper dot title, and for the description call title column title, and for the description snap.data index node db helper dot call description. Okay, now here we have to create an instance node database helper dot instance dot update, and we should pass the column title, column description, and column date as above. Let me create a delete database function. This needs the specific index. So for deleting the database, let me quickly wrap this whole widget under the dismissible. Now it requires a parameter key, which I will define as a unique key, and on dismiss property we will simply call the delete database function. will provide the index. Okay, now I think we are pretty much done here. Also, you can give the background and background container as a red. So we are pretty much done here and the application is complete. Also, you can add the show description page. For it, you have to code something in the list style on tab property. Now I am gonna simply copy the whole code. So okay. Now under the list style on tab property, I have copied the code which give the title and the description. Now I will pass that in the navigator.push and I will call the new stateful widget description UI, which will show the description. This description UI simply return the scaffold and it take the two parameter title and description, so we can get this by default constructor. Now in the navigator.push context, you have to provide these two parameter title and description. So on tab it can show those title and description on a separate screen. Now let me quickly copy paste the title and the description text. And let me add the required property to this dot title and this dot description. Now here we are pretty much done. For showing the description, I am adding the UI part. It is pretty much easy. I have only created the card and in the list style I have provided the title and subtitle. So let me see what it look like. This is our final application. So on tapping this plus icon we are able to add the title and description and it will show. Let me quickly add another title and a simple description. Now we can simply delete by swiping it, as we have wrapped it around the dismissible widget, and also we can edit this specific note. We have also added the description page, so by tapping any of this content will take us to the new screen which will show the title and description. Also the data is not deleted if the application closes and reopens several times. So thanks for watching. Do or subscribe.